5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This is Deducter bringing you the OSL Ro24 Group F. Today we have the first set, which is between Hyuk and TY, aka Baby, which is his more famous name, and I'll call him by that. Hyuk as the yellow Zerg here at the 7 o'clock position, and here we see a Hyuk. Hyuk, one of the most famous programmers who actually sucks pretty badly. At least that's what made him famous. He has shown remarkable periods of great improvement, even once all-killing STXO, which was way back, I believe, in 2009. I think Hyuk deserves the title for the most improved player of all times in StarCraft. He's a professional player. These days, Hyuk is not quite back to his old failing self, but not really exhibiting the sort of play he demonstrated back in 2009-2010 either. He's sort of just been a mediocre-ish Zerg. He doesn't fail spectacularly, nor does he exceed those expectations. I guess the thing with Hyuk is he so exceeded expectations that pretty much any sort of success was incredible triumph. But enough about Hyuk. We have Baby as the Brown Heron at the 1 o'clock position. Baby, arguably the player with the most unfulfilled potential. He has absolutely insane multitasking and APM. Like, he is able to conduct 3 different harasses at 3 different points on the map at once. Though I think his macro suffers when he tries to do that. He is one of the fastest players around. Unfortunately, he never really lived up to his potential. He was always sort of going to be the almost the next Flash, you know, but he is not quite a StarCraft prodigy like Flash. However, Baby is young. He's no longer really Baby anymore. Perhaps I should call him by his new name, TY. I don't know what that stands for anyway. This drone trying to pick away the SCV, but both players going fairly standard here. 12 hatch coming from Hyuk, and Barracks into probably expansion is going down here for Baby. Anyway, Baby, a lot of unfulfilled potential. But he's still young. He's only 16, I believe. So, you know, he's got plenty of time to achieve something. I wouldn't be too concerned as long as he shows more consistency. That's really more of his problem. He can be really good when he wants to be, but often he's inconsistent, and that SCV finally managing to chase away the drone there. Drone trying to micro a bit against SCV, but ultimately not accomplishing much. Looks like the drone might be going in again for another pass. Hyuk seems quite persistent here, but the Marine coming out will ward away the drone, and likely Baby will put down the expansion very soon. Yep, the expansion going down here for Baby. So personally, I think Hyuk's best days are probably behind him. He's been around for a long time, and you know, I think his peak has passed, sad as that may be, whereas Baby has plenty of room for growth and improvement. As long as he can be a bit more consistent, I think he should be fine. He relies a lot on his mechanics to win. He hasn't shown any sort of cleverness, in my opinion, in his games. I mean, for instance, his Wraith micro almost looks like a Zerg player's Mutilus micro. It is so ridiculously good that it's almost like watching a ZVT, or rather a ZVZ, with how good his Wraiths are. Against Zerg players, certainly. On the other hand, he has not really demonstrated that he understands how to play the metagame very well. So I'm not sure whether he's actually won any best of series even. He's never made it deep into the Star Leagues. In fact, this may very well, if he manages to get out of this group, it may very well be his first OSL appearance, although I might be wrong about that. He's probably made it into the OSL before, but I'm almost 100% sure he never made it into the round of 8. Certainly not past round of 8. Unfortunately, I do not remember too much. He just does not strike me as a sort of player who actually has accomplished that layer going down here for Hyuk. Hyuk also with a bunch of Zerglings mulling about. He managed to pick off the scout quite a bit earlier there. Now your players being particularly aggressive. Baby sending out yet another SCV to scout as is standard. Is Zergling going to catch the SCV a little bit in the middle of the map, but nothing too wild is going on here. it appears that both players are settling into more of a standard-ish play. Baby not getting, for instance, a factory to go for Valkyries or anything like that. He's getting 3 racks, it looks like, whereas Hyuk is moving out a number of speedlings here. He does not have enough to actually do much against these Medic Marines here, but I guess he is just trying to position his units and perhaps scout out a little bit like he just did there. See what exactly Baby has going on for him. Interesting to know that Baby has 3 racks right now. He may very well soon put down another 2 to really push out with a very powerful infantry army. And the scan going down now for Baby. He is, well, at least I hear the scanning sound, so he is looking at something. Well, that's not unusual. The Terran player almost always expend the first 2 scans to scout what exactly the Zerg player is going on. Usually they scan the Spire and make sure nothing crazy is coming their way, so not particularly unusual here. Hyuk, though, is trying to move these Zerglings around, maybe trying to bait these Marines. Interestingly enough, Baby has positioned his Marines, the reinforcement Marines, at the choke point. Might be trying to prevent some sort of run-by. That's actually fairly clever here. And Hyuk forced to morph at least 1 creep colony. I don't know why Hyuk is sort of persisting with some of these Zerglings here. He knows he's not going to be able to accomplish much. I think as long as he can keep up his maneuvers, that's fine. And it looks like Hyuk is taking advantage of the speed of his Zerglings to sort of maraud around the map there. But he needs to be very careful with his forces and not to lose them to attrition. Losing the odd Zergling or 2 here does not matter. But if you lose it consistently, then your force will be whittled down. Now, Hyuk has all his Mulists out. Well, I should say the first wave of his Mulists out. Let's see what sort of attack he might be able to pull off here. Hyuk going for the main. Baby has a second force of Medic Marines in the main. Hyuk needs to be a bit careful. And now, massive battle going on here. Hyuk already losing a single Mulist. Hyuk bringing his Zerglings through the choke point to try to assault this front, losing many Mulists here, not really accomplishing anything. Baby bringing out his second army. That was certainly failure by Hyuk. He accomplished nothing. He didn't even really kill any Medic Marines. And Hyuk flying his Mulist into the Marines. So this is a return to the old Hyuk, it looks like. This is cracking me up greatly, I have to say. That was a maneuver that the old Hyuk was infamous for. Epic acts of fail. Running your Mulist into stem Medic Marines and losing at least 2 of them is a prime example. Though I guess Hyuk actually has a very specific meaning as a verb. It means to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory, to put yourself in a winning position and yet lose through a sheer act of incompetence. So I guess this is more of a sheer act of incompetence. He actually did not get himself ahead. Now Baby moving all his Marines out, he's feeling confident, but Hyuk this time trying to take advantage of this neo choke point using his Zerglings much better here. He's going to be able to wipe out a portion of Baby's army, but that Medic Marine wall, the Medic wall blocking all those Zerglings, and Hyuk losing his ground forces there. Baby in good position. He's going to be able to assault these overlords and kill quite a few of them. Nothing that Hyuk can do about this. He's trying to use his Mulist, but losing Mulist without even firing off a salvo of the glaive worms. He's managed to hold Baby back for now, doing some damage to the Medic Marines. It looks like he will finally be able to clean up this force, but surely this was a Pyrrhic victory for Baby. Not for Baby, for Hyuk. He's lost pretty much all his Zerglings. His Mulists are severely weakened. He is going to catch these medics out in the field and kill them, but I'm not sure how good of a position Hyuk is actually in now. His offensive power has essentially been whittled down to nil. He is nevertheless going to try to push out regardless, even though his Mulists are severely weakened, whereas Baby almost certainly has +1 upgrade finished now. Baby being a bit slow there. He only got 3 racks. I was wondering why the Science Vessels coming. It seems that he is not playing a particularly aggressive infantry game, and Baby has some SEVs here idling still, despite his insane multitasking. Not quite sure what he's spending his APM on. Baby already with the +1 upgrade as expected. He needs to watch out and prevent his tanks from getting sniped there. So if Hyuk can dash in with these Mulists, looks like he's trying to assault the Medic Marines head on yet again. I think this is absolutely foolish decision. He's not going to be able to accomplish much. He looks like he's only really able to kill one Marine for a trade of one Mealist, which is a horrible, horrible trade. And Hyuk just trying to put on a bit of pressure here, but I really don't know what he's hoping to accomplish. He's having a bit more success now, but Baby, you can see scanning there, using that sight advantage, and Hyuk's Mealist severely weakened. I fear that a single Irradiate would Hyuk may not even have time to separate his units out there. Hyuk only now, with the Hydras out and getting Lurkers. Baby with his Science Vessel out, and I'm not quite sure why he's lifting up that barracks there. Does he want to lift it up and land in a better position? If Hyuk can snipe the first Science Vessel and then maybe kill one of the tanks, he might actually be in decent position here. Hyuk with his Scourge stacked on top of Mealist. Let's see how well he executes this particular maneuver. He actually managed to snipe one of the tanks. That was pretty good work there. He might be able to snipe a second tank. That would certainly redeem his earlier failure, but not quite managing to do that. His Mealist is still incredibly weak. The Science Vessel has had time to store up energy. The Scourge landing on the Science Vessel, well done by Hyuk. So now, with acts of genius, he's managed to redeem himself from his early act of incompetence. Killing that Science Vessel, sniping that tank, delaying Baby's forces. Hyuk may not be quite back to the old Hyuk after all. And if he can use these Lurkers particularly effectively, maybe even a Lurker trap, he would be in great shape. I mean, killing that Science Vessel has basically stopped Baby from pushing out. Now, you can see Baby seeing up his tanks outside of his base. He's a bit scared, it appears. Strictly on the defensive now. I think he needs to really seize the initiative. Hyuk still should be wary of assaulting the Terran force front. Okay, now Baby's moving out his forces. So Hyuk needs to be a bit careful here. He needs to delay until his Hive Tech can get up. He is going for the Queen's Nest now. There is going to be a window of opportunity here for Baby to attack and do significant damage. Hyuk might actually be going for the counterattack, it looks like. I'm not sure whether he has enough to actually break the forces of Baby here. Baby's got a bunker, plenty of Marines, even a Vulture to lay down some mines, but Baby's still bringing back all his forces. He might very well catch Hyuk sandwiched here, which would be an absolute disaster for Hyuk. Looks like Baby's forces are going to sandwich Hyuk. Hyuk assaulting the front, not quite able to break it, and now Baby bringing all sorts of reinforcements. It looks like Hyuk loses his entire army for negligible games, and surely this is GG. Not quite sure why Hyuk decided to do that. That was just silly, in my opinion. And with that act, he's basically lost the game at this point. Baby's army is preserved. It's as strong as ever. He's got a new Science Vessel out. And the best Hyuk can do is apparently move a few Lurkers into position to kill 5 Marines out on the field. Losing quite a few Zerglings in the process. He's not got enough units to deal with Baby at this point, I fear. And Baby's forces pushing out yet again. Hyuk going to do his best to try to delay this. Not quite sure what he can do. I mean, that attack, unless he knew like Baby was getting his army stuck somehow in the middle of the map, I mean, doing that attack was basically baiting yourself